So last time I've asked you to answer po this one to compute for the FIC of the ampicillin, of gentamicin, of the FIC index or in total lang po, and then yung interpretation nga po, no? If the two drugs are in synergy, indifferent, antagonism, or additive. So for a computation nga po for the FIC of ampicillin, that is basically 0.16 over 0.24. FIC of gentamicin is 0.12 over 0.16 over 0.12, and then add lang po natin yun, so we have 1.999, and that is between 0.5 to 4. Hindi siya additive kasi after 1 din naman siya eh. So 0.5 to 4 we have your indifference, no? So we have indifference. Next, number 11 po tayo. Number 11, Streptococcus pneumoniae and Viridans streptococci can be differentiated by which test? Okay, so again, they are both alpha hemolytic, no? Yung strep pneumoniae at saka Viridans strep. But for strep pneumoniae, di ba, we have your MIBON, mouse virulence, inulin fermentation, biosolubility. O is for optochin or taxopi or ethyl hydrocoprid hydrochloric acid susceptible, having more than or equal to 14 mm zone of inhibition. And then N is for Neufeld-Kellang test. So to differentiate strep pneumoniae from your Viridans strep, we have letter A, optochin disc test, or your taxopi. Again, for bacitracin or taxo A, that is used to differentiate strep pyo from other streptococcus, wherein strep pyo is known to be susceptible to bacitracin. Yung CAMP test naman po, again, that is a test for the group B, Streptococcus agalactiae, wherein it will show nga po an arrowhead zone of hemolysis or enhanced hemolysis in the streak using the streak Staphylococcus aureus. While bile esculin test here, letter D, is for group D, Streptococcus or non-enterococcus, and group D, enterococcus. Okay, so they are bile esculin positive. Okay? Next po, but again, no, for Streptococcus pneumoniae, it is bile solubility positive. No? So, huwag mo confuse doon na sa bile solubility sa bile esculin, magkaiba po yun. Number 12, speaking of bile solubility, the bile solubility test causes lysis of. So again, the bile solubility test causes lysis of. We have letter A, Streptococcus bovis. Ano po ito? Group D, non-enterococcus, colonies on blood agar plate. Streptococcus pneumoniae, colonies on blood agar plate. Group A, or your Streptococcus pyogenes in broad culture, or Group B, Streptococcus or Streptococcus agalactiae in broad culture. So again, for bile solubility test, we have your Streptococcus pneumoniae, colonies on blood agar plate. Okay, again for Streptococcus bovis, for your group D, Streptococcus non-enterococcus, they are bile esculin positive, negative for 6.5% NaCl. Pag enterococcus naman, bile esculin positive, positive for 6.5% NaCl, positive for PYR. Sa strep pneumoniae naman, again, we have MIBON, mouse virulence, inulin fermentation, bile solubility, optochin or taxopi, or ethyl hydrocoprid hydrochloric acid susceptible, having more than or equal to 14 mm zone of inhibition, and N is for Neufeld-Kellang test. For strep pyo group A naman, we have bacitracin susceptibility or taxo is susceptible, as well as PYRAs positive. For group B, Streptococcus or Strep agalactiae naman, we have your CAMP test positive with the streak of Staphylococcus aureus. The positive result is arrowhead zone of hemolysis. We also have hippurate hydrolysis test positive, a purple or violet color upon reaction to ninhydrin. And then, positive nga din po ang group B, Streptococcus agalactiae sa 6.5% NaCl, or it can grow in the presence of that high amount of salt, 6.5% NaCl. Number 13, the Kellang test is used to identify which Streptococcus species. We have, again, Kellang or your Neufeld-Kellang or capsular swelling test is for letter D, Streptococcus pneumoniae. Streptococcus pneumoniae. Number 14, This is what I've mentioned nga po in the past video. No? Nutritionally variant streptococci require specific thiol compound cysteine or the active form of vitamin B6, okay, or your pyridoxal. Which of the following tests supplies these requirements? So we have so for the nutritionally variant streptococci, this is what is your Abiotrophia and Granulicatella, wherein they require nga po vitamin B6 for their growth. And the one that can produce nga po vitamin B6 is your staphylococcal or staphylococcus. So we have letter D, staphylococcal cross streak. Hence your nutritionally variant streptococci, Abiotrophia, and Granulicatella will exhibit satellitism. So they are called the satelliting strep around Staphylococcus. Okay? Again, ang CAM test, saan nga po yan? For Streptococcus agalactiae, arrowhead zone of hemolysis. Para saan nga po ulit si bacitracin test? We have your strep pyogenes, which is susceptible to bacitracin. Biosolubility test naman, we have your Streptococcus pneumoniae, diba? Where the positive result is it will be solubilized. So we have staphylococcal cross streak. Okay, so Abiotrophia and Granulicatella will not grow on blood or chocolate agar unless meron po presence ng vitamin B6 or pyridoxal. So for us to be able to culture or subculture Abiotrophia and Granulicatella in the sheep blood agar or chocolate agar, we need to place pyridoxal disc as a source for vitamin B6, or we can cross-streak with Staphylococcus. Okay? So, yung mga blood culture po na nagpa-positive, yung mga gram stain na meron na nakikita mga gram-positive cocci on chains, tapos, pero naging negative sa subculture, then, baka dahil po yun sa ang present ay mga nutritionally variant streptococci wherein they require pyridoxal disc, they require cross-streaking with Staphylococcus before sila mag-grow sa subculture. In the sheep and sheep blood agar and chocolate agar. So we have Abiotrophia and Granulicatella or your nutritionally variant streptococci. Next po tayo, number 15, an infant has been diagnosed with bacterial meningitis. Further testing of the spinal fluid would likely indicate. So an infant has been diagnosed with bacterial meningitis. Further testing of the spinal fluid would likely indicate. So for bacterial meningitis nga po, no, as I've mentioned nga kanina, ang common po na nagko-cause ng bacterial meningitis across different ages. So among neonates, yung mga 0 to 1 month old, common cause is Streptococcus agalactiae as well as yung mga gram-negative rods like E. coli. Para naman po sa mga children, 1 to 5 years old, the most common cause of bacterial meningitis is Haemophilus influenzae. Among 5 to 29 years old, we have Neisseria meningitidis. And for those age more than or equal to 29 years old, for adults, we have Streptococcus pneumoniae. While for immunocompromised, possible din po ang Listeria monocytogenes. And of course, in case nga po na magkaroon ng meningitis, we have increased white blood cells, predominantly neutrophil kasi bacterial infection po yan. And we also have increased protein of more than 45 milligrams per deciliter and decrease in glucose because bacteria utilizes glucose. It will promote glycolysis. So we have 15, we have letter D. Increased white blood cells with a predominance of neutrophils, increased protein, and decreased glucose. So ito po yung mga major laboratory results for the differential diagnosis of meningitis. Now, reviewin po natin, we have your bacterial, tubercular, viral, and fungal meningitis. So for bacterial nga po, syempre elevated ang WBC count, in particular neutrophil. Okay? And then there will be a marked protein elevation of more than 45 milligrams per deciliter. There will be a marked decrease in glucose level. Kapag ganito po, so syempre ang sample natin dito is CSF glucose or CSF specimen to test for CSF glucose. Again, as part of the protocol nga po, important in CC, important din sa CM, no? It can be asked na the CSF glucose is around 60 to 70% of the blood glucose, wherein we are collecting the blood glucose 2 hours before the spinal tap to provide for to achieve equilibrium po muna, no? And then as the result should be the CSF glucose should range 60 to 70% of the blood glucose. So nakadepende po ang CSF glucose sa blood glucose. Pag mataas ang blood glucose, mataas ang CSF glucose, no? So pag mataas ang CSF glucose, ang dahilan lang nun ay mataas ang blood glucose. Well, kapag bumaba ang blood glucose, bababa rin si CSF glucose. Ang disparity doon kapag normal naman si blood glucose pero sobrang baba ng CSF glucose, baka possible na may presence nga po ng mga pathogens like bacteria, tubercle bacilli, fungi, no? That can cause glycolysis, except for viral, because for viruses naman po, they are not capable of utilizing or performing glycolysis or utilizing glucose. So, lactate naman po is inverse of glucose. So, pag bumababa ang glucose naman po, tumataas naman yung lactate production. So, lactate level here is more than 35 milligrams per deciliter. The rest po is more than 25. So, pinakamataas po ang lactate na increase kapag bacterial infection. And then, we also have the positive limulus lysate test. Again, the reagent here is the horseshoe crab blood, no? The Limulus polyphemus, wherein yung mga gram-negative organism po, because gram-negative, as you can recall, they contain lipid A or endotoxin that will react nga po dun sa Limulus polyphemus horseshoe crab blood, no? So, ito po ay positive sa Limulus lysate test, wherein the positive result is gel clot. Magkakaroon po ng gel clot. Again, that's for bacterial infection causing meningitis. Sa tubercular meningitis naman po, elevated yung WBC count, particularly lymphocytes and monocytes. But let me highlight here monocytes, no? Because in case po of tuberculosis, di ba, predominantly po talaga mataas dyan yung mga monocytes. Because the one that is involved in phagocyting your tubercle bacilli is your macrophages. And the precursor of macrophage is monocytes. So, we expect po talaga na pag may tubercular infection, meron pong monocytosis. So, meron pong case ng monocytosis or increase in the monocytes. Okay? So, there is also increase in protein elevation. There is also decrease in glucose. Lactate level is also increased. And also presence of pellicle formation. So, pellicle formation po is a web-like clot formation after overnight refrigeration or after 12 to 24 hours. So again, that's present in case of tubercular meningitis. For viral naman po, mga viral meningitis na cause, so this can be because of enteroviruses. Some common examples of viruses that can cause meningitis, we have enterovirus, yung mga polio, yes, poliovirus, mga picornaviridae, mga smallest RNA virus, they can also cause viral meningitis. So dito po, elevated ang WBC count, predominantly we have your lymphocytes. So, lymphocytes here is increased, no? Tapos, moderate lang po yung protein elevation. Then, normal po ang glucose at saka lactate, no? Kasi viruses naman po will not perform glycolysis or consume glucose. Sa case naman po ng fungal meningitis, ganun din, elevate yung WBC count, lymphocytes and monocytes din po increase dito. Moderate to marked protein elevation, decreased glucose, lactate level of more than 25. And common nga po to isolate here is Cryptococcus neoformans from pigeon droppings, no? Cryptococcal infection, wherein this one is positive with India ink. No? So, positive India ink with Cryptococcus neoformans. So, still, no, yung ating pa rin pong confirmatory dito is through staining nga po with India ink. For gram stain po, this one will exhibit starburst pattern. Cryptococcus neoformans will exhibit starburst pattern. While sa India ink naman, the background will be stained black. No? But and since this one is capsulated nga po, it will not be stained, no? With India ink. No? And then, we can also now perform immunologic test for Cryptococcus neoformans. However, ang problem po kasi sa mga immunologic test, pwede dito magkaroon ng mga false positive reaction. Okay? So, that's for the major laboratory results for the differential diagnosis of meningitis. Okay, next po tayo. So, let's now move to your Neisseria. Neisseria are gram-negative cocci, di ba? All cocci are gram-positive except for your Neisseria, for your Branhamella or Moraxella, and for your Vilonella. But Vilonella is an anaerobe, no? While Neisseria and Moraxella, they are obligate aerobes. Okay, so for Neisseria species, generally po, again, they are gram-negative diplococci. They are resembling tiny coffee bean or kidney beans. So, cocci in pairs, diplococci, but coffee bean or kidney bean. Kasi yung pneumoniae lancet shape naman siya. Ito naman coffee bean or kidney beans. Except for your Neisseria elongata, which is rod shape. No? Hence the name elongata. Okay, so they are obligate aerobes, but they are capnophilic, meaning they require 5 to 10% carbon dioxide. So they are capnophilic wherein they require 5 to 10% carbon dioxide. They are known to be oxidase positive. No? So important po dito yung oxidase test because this one can differentiate, or the easier way to differentiate your Neisseria from your Enterobacteriaceae. Because all Enterobacteriaceae are oxidase negative, while for Neisseria, they are oxidase positive. Again, the oxidase reagent is tetramethylparaphenylene diamine dihydrochloride, wherein the positive result is a purple color, a dark purple color. Pero pag na-encounter po yung modified oxidase, again, yun po yung may dimethyl sulfoxide, and that is for Micrococcus, and that is blue in color. Okay? For their culture medium naman po, Neisseria gonorrhea requires a chocolate agar plate. So, yun po yung minimal growth standard niya. Kailangan chocolate agar plate siya. So, this one will not grow in blood agar plate. Kailangan chocolate agar plate. While on the other hand, Neisseria meningitidis, Moraxella catarrhalis can grow naman po in a blood agar plate. Okay? In addition po to chocolate agar, because chocolate agar plate is only a nutritive media to allow the growth of your Neisseria. But for it to be selective, not to allow the growth of other contaminants or other organism, we are adding antibiotics. No? And so that their base agar is chocolate agar. And in the addition of antibiotics, we have here your Thayer-Martin, modified Thayer-Martin, Martin-Lewis, and New York City agar. Ito po yung mga common na agar natin for your Neisseria gonorrhea. So again, review po natin, ano po yung mga antibiotics na present sa Thayer-Martin. Sa Thayer-Martin, meron po siyang vancomycin that will inhibit gram-positive. Meron po siyang colistin that inhibits gram-negative organism, and as well as nystatin to inhibit the growth of fungi. So, modified Thayer-Martin naman, para din siyang Thayer-Martin, may vancomycin to inhibit gram-positive, may colistin to inhibit gram-negative, may nystatin to inhibit the growth of fungi, pero dito nag-add tayo ng trimethoprim lactate to inhibit the swarming of the proteus. Sa Martin-Lewis naman po, in addition to vancomycin that inhibits gram-positive, colistin that inhibits gram-negative, we replace nystatin with anisomycin. So, yun lang po yung difference dito. Yung nystatin that inhibits the growth of fungi to your Thayer-Martin, a modified Thayer-Martin, we replace it with anisomycin for your Martin-Lewis. While for New York City agar naman po, we replace again your nystatin and anisomycin with amphotericin B. So, for New York City agar, meron tayong vancomycin to inhibit gram-positive, meron tayong colistin to inhibit gram-negative, meron tayong nystatin to inhibit the growth of, meron tayong amphotericin to inhibit the growth of fungi. Again, for New York City agar, meron po siyang amphotericin B to inhibit the growth of fungi. Okay? So, the Neisseria organisms, going back dito po sa ating table, so the Neisseria organisms contributor to its pathology, no? So, yung kanya mga virulence factor, pathologic determinants. So, meron po siyang presence ng pili, and this pili can be a conjugation pili to transfer nga po yung mga genetic material, which also includes antimicrobial resistance, and they are also the one responsible for the attachment to the mucous membranes, contributing to its pathology. Okay? So we have different Neisseria species. Review lang din po natin ulit, no? Aside from pilay pala, they also contains a capsule and an endotoxin. Kasi gram-negative po ito, so meron silang endotoxin. So may pilay, capsule, endotoxin. Pilay, capsule, and endotoxin that contributes to its pathogenicity. Okay, so review po tayo ng different Neisseria species. For Neisseria gonorrhea, the presumptive test for Neisseria gonorrhea is your superoxole test. So superoxole is just like a catalyst reaction, but instead of 3% hydrogen peroxide, we use 30% hydrogen peroxide. But the result is the same, it is just bubbling and effervescence. That is for Neisseria gonorrhea. Okay? Again, no, when we perform po a smear, a gram stain po dito, we will see nga po a gram negative diplococci, pero we will not report it as as Neisseria gonorrhea agad-agad. No, we need to report it first as gram negative diplococci kasi you need many more confirmatory and biochemical tests para masabi mo na Neisseria gonorrhea yon. No, but the proper reporting should be gram negative diplococci. Okay? So again, Neisseria gonorrhea will cause gonorrhea, of course, gonococcal arthritis, as well as neonatal conjunctivitis, commonly known as ophthalmia neonatorum or known as ophthalmia neonatorum. Gonorrhea, Neisseria species po are fermenters, no? Except for Moraxella, because Moraxella catarrhalis is a non-fermenter, or it is asaccharolytic or non-fermenter. While for Neisseria gonorrhea, this one is a glucose fermenter. Para matandaan, G, gonorrhea, G, glucose fermenter. Next, we have your Neisseria meningitidis. Ito naman po nag-cause ng meningitis. As well, in addition to meningitis, this one can also cause DIC or disseminated intravascular coagulation, as well as causing Waterhouse-Friedrichsen syndrome or hemorrhage in the adrenal gland. So, kung ang gonorrhea po ay glucose fermenter, si meningitidis naman ay glucose and maltose fermenter. So, M for maltose. Maltose fermenter. Neisseria lactamica naman po ang nag-iisang lactose fermenter sa lahat ng Neisseria species. No? And Neisseria lactamica produces beta-galactosidase kasi po, di ba, for lactose fermentation, either the organism is producing lactose permease and beta-galactosidase or beta-galactosidase only. So for Neisseria lactamica, this one produces beta-galactosidase. And the test for beta-galactosidase is your ONPG test. So basically, kapag nag-positive po sa ONPG, meron silang production ng beta-galactosidase and they are known as lactose fermenter. So for Neisseria lactamica, it is a lactose fermenter nga po. It produces beta-galactosidase. So this one is ONPG positive. So the only lactose fermenter, the only positive for beta-galactosidase or ONPG positive among all the Neisseria species is Neisseria lactamica. Okay, so it is a glucose, maltose, and lactose fermenter. Next, we have your Moraxella catarrhalis or Branhamella catarrhalis. This one is non-fermenter or asaccharolytic. So it can ferment carbohydrates. Yung Moraxella catarrhalis or Branhamella catarrhalis. So this one is described as having a hockey puck consistency, wherein we can move the colony intact over the surface of the agar. So that is for Moraxella catarrhalis. Okay, so again, that's in a nutshell yung Neisseria species. Next po tayo, number 16. A gram-negative diplococci are isolated from a female genital tract specimen. Which of the following is the most appropriate action? Nakita to tayo ng gram-negative diplococci in a genital tract specimen. Like for example, vaginal smear. Which of the following is the most appropriate action? Is it letter A, report Neisseria gonorrhea isolated and perform susceptibility testing? Is it to report the amount of gram-negative diplococci, few, moderate, many, and estimate the number of neutrophils present? Report on the normal flora and discard the specimen and plate specimen on blood agar. So the answer here should be, again, you can't report na Neisseria gonorrhea is is isolated kasi kailangan pa ng many biochemical and confirmatory tests. Likewise, you can say naman na normal ito, no? May nakita ka nga bacteria, no? Na gram-negative diplococci. So, this one what you can do is to report the amount nga of the gram-negative diplococci and estimate the number of neutrophils present because that neutrophil can indicate na meron nga pong case ng infection. So, 16, we have letter B. Okay, report the amount of gram-negative diplococci, kung few, moderate, or many, and estimate the number of neutrophils present. Number 17, Waterhouse-Friedrichsen syndrome is associated with. So again, this one is a hemorrhage in the adrenal gland associated with Neisseria meningitidis. Tama? So we have letter B, adrenal hemorrhage from Neisseria meningitidis. That's your Waterhouse-Friedrichsen syndrome. Number 18, pili antigens are associated with. So again, the presence nga po of pili for the attachment in the mucous membrane as well as in for conjugation or for the transfer of genetic material. So this one is one of the pathogenic determinants of your Neisseria. Okay, so we have letter D, Neisseria gonorrhea. Okay, so pili antigens are associated with Neisseria gonorrhea. Next po tayo, number 19. Which of the following organisms is DNase positive? So again, for DNase test nga po, we are using a medium, a DNA medium with methyl green. And kapag na-clear nga po yung medium, ibig sabihin that may organism na kaya mag-produce ng DNase. Okay, and this one is true nga po to Staphylococcus aureus, Moraxella, and Serratia. So we have letter C, Moraxella catarrhalis, known as DNase positive. Again, Staphylococcus aureus, Moraxella, and Serratia. Next, number 20, the superoxal test. Again, superoxal test nga po uses 30% hydrogen peroxide, wherein the positive result is bubbling or effervescence, just like your catalase test, but catalase uses 3% hydrogen peroxide. Superoxal is known as a presumptive test for Neisseria gonorrhea. So we have letter A, Neisseria gonorrhea. Number 21 po tayo. The beta-galactosidase test aids in the identification of which Neisseria species. So beta-galactosidase test nga po, or your ONPG test, orthonitrophenyl galactopyranoside test, ONPG or beta-galactosidase test, aids in the identification of which Neisseria species. Again, beta-galactosidase test, ONPG test, detects for the beta-galactosidase which is present nga po sa mga lactose fermenter such as your Neisseria lactamica. So 21, we have letter A, Neisseria lactamica. Number 22, culture on modified Thayer-Martin medium of a vaginal swab produced several colonies of gram-negative diplococci that were catalase and oxidase positive and superoxal negative. Okay? So again, this one is catalase positive daw po, oxidase positive daw po, no? So again, all Neisseria are oxidase positive, while Enterobacteria are oxidase negative. Superoxal negative yan. So, again, ang superoxal test, diba, para saan yan? Kay Neisseria gonorrhea. Presumptive test yun for Neisseria gonorrhea. So, na-cancel mo na ngayon dito si Neisseria gonorrhea because of the superoxal negative nga po. Given the following carbohydrate reaction, select the most likely identification. Glucose fermenter, maltose fermenter, lactose fermenter. So, again, the only lactose fermenter here is Neisseria lactamica. Tama? So, we have letter D, Neisseria lactamica. And again, tandaan nga po, ONPG test positive, beta-galactosidase test positive. Number 23, a sputum sample from a patient with pneumonia produced many colonies of gram-negative diplococci on a chocolate plate that were also present in fewer numbers after 48 hours. Given that the results below, what is the most likely identification? So for its biochemical test here, catalase positive, so Neisseria is catalase positive, oxidase positive, we have your Neisseria, and then sabi nga po dyan, glucose, maltose, sucrose, and fructose non-fermenter, di ba? and DNA is positive. Again, sabihin, di ba, non-fermenter nga po or asaccharolithic si Branhamella or Moraxella catarrhalis. And Moraxella, tama naman po, it is DNA is positive. Tama? So, we have letter A, Moraxella catarrhalis. 23, letter A, Moraxella catarrhalis. Next na po tayo, Enterobacteriaceae.